Hi everyone, we're back for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around we're going to be talking about the 2011 film, Warrior. As you can see, it says on the case there, as powerful and unforgettable as Rocky, fiercely moving. In the back it says, a must-see and riveting. So we're going to get into what it's about. It's got quite a few well-known actors in this one. Tom Hardy, Nick Nolte, Joel Edgerton, Jennifer Morrison, Frank Grillo, Kevin Dunn, Brian Callen, and then of course there's it's a mixed martial arts movie, so there's some actual mixed martial artists in this movie as well. Kurt Angle, Nate Marquardt, Anthony Johnson, and I think that's pretty much the extent of the well-known actors. So the basis of Warrior is this: you've got an estranged family, family. When the kid, basically, it's around two brothers. When the family broke up, the one brother went with the mom, and the other brother went with the dad. Dad at the time was drunk, and basically they just all parted ways. The mom ended up dying of cancer. I don't know how long after they split up, or died of some disease anyways. Tommy, played by Tom Hardy, was the one that went with the mom, and he ended up seeing her die. That was rough on him, and then he ended up in the Marines. Brandon, who ended up being raised by the father. Brandon, played by Joel Edgerton. The father is played by Nick Nolte, a veteran actor of many a movie. And basically, so first of all, Tommy comes back to his father, because as much of a drunk as his father was and how much he hates his father was his trainer growing up. Like, he was a wrestler more than anything, and nobody trained him better than his father. So he wants to come back and train and get back into fighting and whatnot. Brandon, meanwhile, you find out he is a former UFC fighter who is now doing substitute teaching and moonlighting on the side. He's pretending to be a bouncer, but he's actually doing fights in like strip club parking lots and stuff like that just to make ends meet. He's trying to help his wife and two little girls. And basically, what happens is there's this great big tournament called Sparta. The best mixed martial arts middleweight fighters from around the world come together in one tournament. 16 fighters, I believe it is, and the top prize is $5 million. You find out Tommy is actually on the run from the Army, because he, I forget what the term is, like when they basically, like, they run away from duty, go AWOL. He went AWOL. And he is trying to get the money to help the widow of one of his former brothers-in-arms who was killed in action. And Brandon needs the money to help keep his house. He's about to lose his house to the bank and go into foreclosure, and he needs the money to keep the house. So they, unbeknownst to each other at first, they both try to enter this tournament. Get well known enough to enter this tournament, and they end up, fighting their way through the tournament, and they end up in the finals together. Before I say much more, so what I really love about this movie is, like I said, at the front it says this powerful, unforgettable as Rocky. It's kind of like Rocky, in a sense, but more mixed martial arts, and instead of focusing on necessarily like one fighter who's had a rough go in his career and is just given a 1 in a million Cinderella shot. It's focusing on two brothers who have been in the game here and there, and for their own various reasons to try and get into this tournament. It's a very funny movie. At times there are some funny parts to this. It's what did I say? Yeah, fiercely moving. There are some very emotional parts of this movie as well. You really feel the emotion coming from both families, both with dealing with the past issues, like I said, with the father being a drunk and beating the mother, and the family dynamics between the two brothers and how they become so estranged. And basically, you know, that is the storyline of this movie. And I mean, like I said, there's some funny parts in this, some really emotional parts. That's even during some of the fights. There are some emotional scenes to the movie. So, you know, there's definitely a lot to go by in this movie. But, you know, some of the things, like me being a mixed martial arts fan too, I also love the fights in this movie. You know, they're very well choreographed, they're very believable and realistic. Some of them are very intense in the fight sequences. And of course, the one thing that surprises me, now Tom Hardy is a pretty fit dude to begin with, but for this movie specifically, he got jacked. Like, he is a massive human being in this movie, and you know, just the viciousness of his fights. Like, imagine I mean, there are some fighters that have done this, but like, to do every fight like this, I don't think I've ever seen a fighter in real life. Obviously, this is a fictitious story; it's not based off of real life per se. But yeah, he just, every fight, he just walks in and just kicks the crap out of the dude as quick as possible, knocks them the hell out, walks out of the ring, like no regard for rules or etiquette or anything. It's just amazing. Brandon, meanwhile, his fights more drag out because, you know, he's been a little bit out of the game, he's a little rusty, but they're still just as entertaining to watch. And you know, some of them are very emotional too. Like his one fight, I think it's his last fight before the finale, fights the guy played by Kurt Angle, Koba, the great Koba. And there's a part, like, for most of the fight, Koba is kicking his ass. And basically, I think it's in between rounds, the trainer for Brandon, excuse me, basically tells him, you know, you lose this fight, you don't have a home. Like, you need to win this fight or you have no home to go back to. You need to beat him. You need to either knock him out or get him to tap. And Brandon catches him in a knee bar and wins the fight. Very emotional scene. Like, that line just always resonated with me. And then, of course, you got the climactic fight scene between the two brothers. Obviously, it's Hollywood. You can make whoever you want out of the finals, but the fact that it ends up being the two brothers, and unbeknownst to anybody outside of the immediate family and the two brothers, nobody knows until the finale that these two are actually brothers. Because Tommy used his mother's last name, Reardon, whereas Brandon kept his father's last name, Connolly. And so, you know, up at and then when people find out that they're actually brothers, it just adds a whole nother dynamic to the fight. So yeah, just, you know, awesome movie. If you're a fan of MMA, if you're a fan of just a good story in a movie, if you're a fan of the combining of the two, you know, and of course any of these actors, like putting it all together, they do, every one of them does their role justice. Just a great film. If you've never seen Full Warrior, I highly recommend it. So there you are, folks. I might be doing a few more through the week. My partner's on vacation right now, so I might have a bit more time to do these kind of things, hence why I'm doing it on a holiday Monday morning as opposed to the Sunday night when I would normally do it. So we'll see, folks, but if not, I will definitely catch you next week for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. Take care, folks.